Money, money, money. Today we're talking about something that every woman I work with struggles with in some form or another, and that I used to struggle with, and that is underpricing and over delivering. It's a recipe for burnout, resentment, health challenges, and a compromised work life balance at large, not to mention living inside feelings of scarcity and financial anxiety. Let's not do that anymore. I'm going to share with you today some key steps for you to take after listening so that you can start pricing from your true power, not the parts inside of you that never feel like they're enough. Welcome to Herself, a space for women to have deep conversations about the intersection between spiritual entrepreneurship and fulfilling your potential, so you can become the woman you truly are in every area of your life. After being in business for over 2 decades, I've learned, as you likely have too, that as you grow your business grows you in unexpected, often challenging, yet miraculous ways. Here, we'll talk about how to get out of your own way so you can grow a business that's abundant and sustainable while allowing you to be a force for good in the world. I'll give you simple, actionable strategies as well as wisdom and inspiration to help you root into your wholeness, lead from your values, and work in ways that feel deeply aligned so you can bring your true self into the world through your business and in every area of your life. Money, budgeting, pricing, these are really important central topics in business because ultimately, if we're not making a profit, we don't have a business. We just have a hobby or a passion project that is draining us of money. I want to acknowledge that some of you listening might not necessarily consider yourself as having a quote business. And I want to say that even if you have a private practice and you're focused on drawing in and serving your clients, like if you're a healthcare professional, like a therapist, a doctor, a dentist, a vet, a massage therapist, chiropractor, etc., you still have a business. The principles are the same. Because if you're working for yourself, there's a core foundation that you need to have in place and to be continually working within, building upon, and refining in order to be effective, sustainable, and profitable. It's not rocket science, but it does take work. And I see a lot of women working a lot harder than they need to because, one, they're not aware of this core foundation that they need to have in place. And instead, they're diluting their focus and efforts. For instance, they're taking one online course here, free offering there, reading this book, talking to that consultant. And when we operate this way, it's easy for us to feel scattered and overwhelmed. Now, I am a fan of lifelong learning. I will always be studying things for sure, but it needs to come from a more unified, directed place within me first. Otherwise, it's a case of too many cooks in the kitchen. You first need a central visionary to create a solid foundation, and in the case of a kitchen, to decide what's even going to be on the menu before people start cooking. Here's another example. Ben Franklin said, "If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail." I cannot underestimate the importance of having a plan. I know I've talked about it here a lot on this podcast, and I'm not talking about just any plan. I'm talking about an effective, inspiring, well-informed, and crafted plan that's uniquely customized for you. And this is why cookie cutter formulas don't work. Yes, we're talking about timeless principles, but another example, if you think about fashion, it's like having some core pieces in your wardrobe that you pull together that make you feel authentically you. Because we all want to feel and be authentic, and others want our authenticity. Others want us to be ourselves. And being ourselves can oftentimes feel like the hardest thing to do. We're not taught to be ourselves. We're taught the opposite. We're taught to be like other people. But this authenticity is where the juice is. It's where the aliveness is. It's not inspiring to be like everyone else, to offer what everyone else is offering, to do things how everyone else is doing things. even when it comes to pricing and delivering your services, which I'll get to in more depth soon, I promise. But first, let's go back to that plan. Some of you love planning, but maybe you're not getting enough outside expert input on that plan to really help take your life and your work to the next level. Maybe that plan is not rooted in your depths. It's not coming from your soul. We all have blind spots and we don't know what we don't know. And this is especially true when you're in a creation or building phase. It's really important to get trusted expert feedback. Then there are some of you who don't plan, or you only do so very sporadically. You're good with the inspiration piece and connecting with your internal work and your spiritual connection, but you're running your business by default rather than by design. You're flying by the seat of your pants. And when you do this, you will never have a truly successful business. Period. If this is how you operate, you will not have a truly successful and sustainable business. Now, I'm sharing this in our conversation about underpricing and overdelivering because those two things are rampant amongst business owners, underpricing and overdelivering. And one of the root causes of this is failure to have a solid plan. Now, you don't need a 10-year vision. You don't even need a 5-year vision. It's fine if you do. And that's a whole other level of planning, really having a master vision for your life, which I do recommend. Without necessarily needing to know how you're going to achieve that. That's a larger conversation for another time. But you do need a 1-year plan. You definitely need a 90-day plan or 1 quarter. And you most certainly need a plan for this month, this week, and today. One of the core underlying traits of all successful people is that they very consciously structure their time. If you're jumping around doing too many different things, you're going to feel overwhelmed and at the mercy of other people's and life's agendas. You're going to be operating in emergency mode. You want to be the CEO here, and you want to be what William Ernest Henry writes in his poem Invictus, which is also the central quote in Oprah's life, which is how we know it. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. And I love this because it brings back the power of personal responsibility. If you're not experiencing the things in your life that you want to experience, you need to take responsibility for that. So rather than dabbling in several different offerings with several different people, like one person for marketing, one place for help with budgeting, one place for input on pricing, another for crafting your signature offer, you're spreading yourself way too thin. It's time to pull back, draw inwards, and take some quiet space and time to get clear inside. So this is why in my mastermind program, we start our year-long journey together by creating our soul-centered foundation. And I lead women through a series of exercises to really clarify their vision, their values, and more, these really foundational pieces of a business, not from the rational level, not from just the conscious mind, but from a place of being deeply connected to not only their souls, but also the souls of their businesses. And when we do this, this is where the magic happens. This is where the genius can be unleashed. And I don't know about you, but I'm not here to do what everyone else is doing. I'm not here to follow the status quo. I am doing what I'm doing to bring into the world what only I can in the way that only I can. I'm here to be extraordinary. And at the level of soul, our souls hold the precise pattern for our perfect unfolding. Our soul knows how we can step into our fullest expression. Likewise, the soul of your business holds the blueprint for the optimal expression of your work in the world. And so if you're not starting from there, you're going to be creating things that are out of alignment with that pattern. You'll end up working harder because you're not tapping into the incredible resources that are available inside that pattern. Things will not be as powerful and effective. You're going to feel like you're swimming upstream a lot. It's like you're trying to turn on a light without first plugging that light into the power socket. There's no juice. There's no electricity. when you're not tapped into source energy within you, which we experience as human beings as our souls. So rather than dipping into a lot of different pots, instead, we want to first pull into our own inner vessel and get really clear and resourced there. From this inner connection, we can tap into our power, our sovereignty, our remembrance of the truth that all creation starts from within and that we are born to be incredibly powerful co-creators with the divine. From this connection, we can then look at how we're operating in the world of our business when it comes to pricing, delivering our services, and anything else that we want to get clear about. But today we're particularly talking about pricing. Are you determining your prices based on that deep soul guidance, your own soul guidance and the guidance from the soul of your business? Or are young, scared parts of you that feel anxious and unworthy, are they hijacking your center when it comes to pricing? Are they looking around at your field and at your competition, comparing yourself to others, and then determining your prices from there? Then are they still occupying your center, giving without appropriate boundaries and policies in place so that you end up feeling resentful and that you're working too hard, too much, with too little to show for it? I've been there. That's why I can talk about this. Most of the women that I work with come to me with some degree of this operating in their businesses. It's incredibly common. First, let's be aware that this is happening. If this is something that you're experiencing right now, to any degree, remember that awareness is curative. Can you simply be aware that this is happening and suspend judgment about it? We can't change anything until we do this. Then we can have compassion for ourselves by recognizing the truth that many, if not most of us, didn't have role models of women close to us who are making good money in congruence with their souls, their desires, and their deep needs, who exuded genuine confidence and power as they did that. Many of us, myself included, are figuring this out for ourselves. I'm the first woman in my family who has had her own business, been self-employed. And with that, without people to look to close to us, there's trial and error. And that has an impact. So let's look at some numbers here. According to a recent FreshBooks study, women who work for themselves earn 28% less than their male peers in America. 28% less. So something that we could just do at the very surface level is, what would it look like for you to raise your rates 20 to 25% in the next month to get yourself up to the level that your male peers are charging? So this trend for us as women comes from not having adequate role models and by having ancestral burdens from the patriarchy that we carry from our culture, from our lineages. These get baked into our own conscious and subconscious minds starting at an early age. And we experience those in the form of limiting beliefs, like it's not possible for me to earn a lot of money, or it's not possible for me to earn X amount of money, or men are more competent than me. It's not okay for me to self-promote. It's not safe for me to put myself out there and be seen. I'm not worthy of charging or asking for more. People aren't going to want to pay for that much for my services. What are the limiting beliefs around money and earning that are present in you? Again, we want to really look, be curious. And these are operating at the subconscious level, so we want to look deep. And it's our subconscious minds that create our realities. This is why we want to be working from our depths first and foremost, and only take actions based on alignment and guidance from there. You can only change things at the root. So at the root, it's your beliefs around not being worthy, around not being enough. That's the source of you underpricing and overdelivering. So yes, I'm encouraging raise your rates. I think everyone can do that, unless you feel like you've already done this work and feel really solid with it. And then we want to really go to the root. And I want to reframe this even more. Remember, it's not your beliefs, it's the beliefs of your culture, of your ancestors, that parts of you are carrying. It's beliefs that these parts took on from your childhood, from your religion, from your education. It's the young parts of you that have these limited views of reality, not the true you, not the true you. And we want to be living our lives, leading our businesses from our true selves. This is why this is called the Her Self podcast, from yourself. So when it comes to underpricing and overdelivering, here are some steps you can take. Number one, do the healing work to connect with the younger parts of yourself that hold these beliefs about unworthiness. Go inside, look to see what you find, and connect. Rather than trying to override, fix, or get rid of these parts, turn toward them, get to know them, befriend them, understand why they feel so unworthy. It's counterintuitive, but turning toward your unworthiness is the only pathway to genuinely embodying your worth. The obstacle is the way here. When we do this, and it does take time, it does take patience, then at the innermost level, your subconscious will rewrite the script into one of worthiness. And then you'll experience that in your outer life with people wanting to pay you well for your services, respecting your boundaries, and more. So the outer is a reflection of the inner. If you want more support with doing that with your inner selves, a good place to start is I have an on-demand course that's only $9. It's called Getting Out of Your Own Way. And it's an IFS daily parts meditation kit where I guide you through some simple tools to use each day to connect with your inner selves so that you are in charge. You are the captain and they're not taking you over. So you can find more details about that in the show notes, including how you can get that for free when you leave a review for this podcast. So number two, after connecting with our inner selves, we want to connect with your soul. And in IFS, we call this yourself with a capital S. This naturally happens when we connect with our parts. The soul is like the sun, and the parts are like the clouds. So as we connect with the parts, with the clouds, there's more space for the sun. The clouds begin to part, and we have access to our clarity. Spiritual traditions teach us that we have everything that we need within us. We find it within, and then it appears outside of us. Most people, I'll be honest with you, are too lazy to do this, or too busy with the externals, too caught up in the illusion of the outer world. And I know that if you're here listening to this, you're not like most people. We want to work with the laws of the universe. So we reverse this, we flip it on its head. We turn within first, foremost, always. The more that we do this, the more that we tap into our innate clarity, confidence, courage. This always only lives inside of us. It's not outside of you. You cannot get that from someone else. It is part of your essential nature. And how can you create more access to that inside? That will give you the guidance for your next right step. What is the work that's yours to do? From there, we get clear on a plan, a strategy, and I recommend doing this with support, someone who is on the same page as what we're talking about here. And that strategy will help you to build out the world of your business, the structures and containers through which your soul's essence will flow into the material world. This is not just a business that we're creating and running, it's a spiritual calling and an enterprise, and a vehicle for your greatest self-expression. So we want to ask ourselves, what's the ecosystem in the world of my business? How do people enter this world? What are their first steps when they enter this world? What is the central offer that this ecosystem is leading them toward? And number 4, from there, then we want to feel into the pricing. And I say feel because you want to reference your body here. Your body never lies. It's a mirror of your intuition, and intuition is what you feel before your mind steps in. Intuition is your communication channel with the divine that lives within you as your soul. So I'll give you an example from the world of my business. So here, for example, we have my podcast. My podcast is free. This is a way for people to enter into my ecosystem. It's a way for me to express my soul's gifts. And then you can move into a low cost offering like the one that I just shared with you, Getting Out of Your Own Way. It's a $9 program. And from there are different steps that women can take all the way to the final step. The very central offer in the world of my business is my mastermind, Create Your Dream Business. That is my highest price offering. It's $10,000. And some people come straight in there, and some people work their way up to that through the different offerings as they get to know me. But the pricing looks different at different stages in this journey through the world of my business. But when you are pricing your services, you want to look at that flow that you're leading people through. Number 5 is we want to stop trading hours for dollars. That is an employee mindset that came from when people first started working in factories with the Industrial Revolution. So we want to get out of this idea of an hourly rate. And we want to turn into the entrepreneurial mindset, which is all about what is the value of the transformation that you're offering. We want to look at the transformation. So going back to that example of my year-long mastermind, Create Your Dream Business, which is a $10,000 a year offering, in that program, women learn how to build all that I'm talking about here. A deeply aligned and effective outer world of your business and ecosystem that are external expressions of your soul's truth. And this program is designed to at least 10x your return on investment in the first year. It has the possibility to do that if you put the work in place, if you actually build out these pieces. And the structure is meant to serve you for years, decades to come, where your income can continue to grow from there. And again, this doesn't get built by itself. It does take work. It does take commitment, but it allows you to build something that can even serve you for the rest of your career, the rest of your life. And so here's the question for you. Do you want to be scrambling around at the surface, talking to this person about this thing, that consultant about that thing, to maybe save you money in the short term, but to continue to let time pass without gaining any real traction? Real traction comes from deciding to go pro. And for spiritually inclined women, business owners, that comes from turning inside, parenting the parts of you who tend to run your business and your life, especially with their wounds of unworthiness, creating a soul-centered strategic plan, clarifying the world and the ecosystem of your business, like what is your signature offer? How can you lead people toward that in a clear sequential way? Then how can you price that accordingly so it feels really aligned with the people you serve and the kind of life that you want to create for yourself? Now that offer needs to clearly deliver value to people. If we are pricing according to transformation, people need to look at that and see, wow, that's something that I really need. That could really offer a lot of value to my life. That could have a big ROI. That could give them the results they're looking for. And it does take time to clarify that offer, to get that messaging really intact, to get the curriculum built out. So there's a really clear point A to point B, clear transformational path. But once you've created it, it's something that you can repeat and refine over and over again. Remembering, the less that we scatter ourselves and do a bunch of different things, and the more that we get really simple, and simple doesn't mean easy, the more that we get simple and operate from this unified place, the more that we have a structure that we love, that allows us to live the life that we want, to do the work that we came here to do, and that can serve us for years and even decades to come. So stop looking at what other people are doing. Get clear about what you most want to be doing. Get clear about the value that you're offering people, the transformation that working with you makes possible, and what's the cost of that? I think we all know that in order to change the world, we first have to change ourselves. We first have to change inside. So hopefully this is inspiring you to turn within, even in the case of doing something as seemingly external as pricing your services. And I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing that you're going to do after listening today to change your relationship, or to begin to change your relationship with underpricing and overdelivering, if that's something that you struggle with to any degree? What is your next right step? I'd love to know. You're always welcome to DM me on Instagram at Sarah Von Stover. And I want you to know that I'm here standing for the possibility of a world where women embody their worthiness and their enoughness, feel empowered with their money, and price their services and offerings based on the truth of just how powerful they, or we, truly are. Thank you for joining me today. And remember, change doesn't come from listening alone. I invite you to commit to taking one small or large, courageous action after today's conversation. One step you can take if you haven't already is to sign up for my free mini course, 3 Lies Holding Successful Women Back that keep you overwhelmed, stuck, and doubting yourself, and how to break free so you can embody your potential starting now. You can find that over at my website, sarahavonstover.com. That's my full name, sarahavonstover.com. And if you found this podcast valuable, please share it with the women in your world. Also, I'd be very grateful if you leave a review. It helps others find resources like this, and I'd love to hear what's coming alive for you after listening today. Above all, keep going and never forget the unique offerings you and your true self bring to the world. Until next time, I'm sending you my heartfelt support.